Hello, my name's Amanda Pack, and today you're joining me for prenatal yoga. No matter what stage along you are in your pregnancy, this is a practice for you. Today's focus will be on hips and pelvic floor health. Enjoy! And then go ahead and find a comfortable space on your mat. So if you have a blanket or a pillow and you want to boost yourself up, we'll start with seated today, but instead of with our legs crossed, let's actually start with our feet out wide. So you can be either whatever direction you're set up, it really doesn't matter. But feet are going to go out wide. Bring your hands to your knees. If you need more space, bring your feet further forward. And then close your eyes. Let's take a nice deep breath in. And slowly exhale. And then two more. Deep breath in and out. And then let your body take over your breath and begin to circle through your shoulders. So lifting them up, back, and around. And let your shoulders settle down. If you're holding on with your hands, if you want to bring your forearms to the tops of your knees so they can just rest, take out your hands. And as we pause here, take a moment to check in with your body. So notice how you're feeling this morning, from your muscles to your joints. Notice your energy and your breath. And finally, notice baby. So whether you can feel baby or not, take a moment to acknowledge them. To acknowledge the relationship that your body has with your baby at this moment. Nurturing, growing. And acknowledge their safety. Let's take 2 more breaths. And let your eyes flutter open. Bring your hands to your knees and just rock your knees to the right and to the left. And then come back to center. I'm going to readjust my feet. You can readjust them to whatever works for you. So they could be close together. If you're further along in your pregnancy, they might be a little further apart. And then we're going to bring our hands to the fronts of our knees. Take a breath in, lift your chin and chest. Send your belly through your legs as you arch your back. And as you exhale, round your back, round your chest, around your belly. Drop your chin to your chest, breathe into the back of your neck. And let's do that twice more. So inhale, reach up, stretch, arch your back. Exhale, round your back. One more time, inhale, reach up, stretch. And then exhale, round. And now sit up nice and tall. As we sit up nice and tall, you can keep your legs where they are. If you're wanting to put them down, you might put them down, resting them on your mat. If you're not sitting on something and you notice that your back is feeling rather uncomfortable, I do recommend taking a pause and going to get something to lift your hips so that your hips are higher than your knees. And now from here, we're going to take a breath in, reach your arms overhead, big stretch up. As you exhale, arms down to the right. Stretch long down the left side of your body. Your hand may or may not land on your mat. Breathe in again. Feel that stretch in your rib cage. And then as you exhale, come back to center. Other side, inhale, lift up, reach and stretch. And now exhale to the left. Big breath down the right side of your body, stretching in between your intercostal muscles. Take 2 more breaths. Good, and then inhale back to center. Exhale, sweep your hands down, out and around. Circle through your shoulders. And then we're going to try one more twist. So inhale, reach your arms up, or actually try reverse twist. As you exhale, turn to the right. So your arms overhead, that might feel okay. If you want to bring your hands down to your shoulders, bring your hands to your shoulders. Breathe in. And then let your hands fall where they'd like. So knees on the floor, and drop your chin towards your chest. So remember, as we stretch during our pregnancy, or we twist during our pregnancy, we want to be mindful of what's happening in your belly. And this also is relative postpartum as well. So as you twist, it's a gentle twist, mindful of any stretching that's happened in between the muscles of your belly. So I'm not forcing myself to turn to the right using my right hand. I'm just using the muscles of my back. Take another breath. And then exhale, come back to center. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. So inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, turn to the left, lower your hands. And then pause here. Each breath in, you're lengthening through your spine. And then use your exhale to slowly revolve to that left side. And now one more breath in. And exhale, come back to center. Roll your shoulders. Good. Now, since we're focusing a little bit more on hips today, let's go ahead and stay right here. Bring your feet out in front. My hands are back behind you, and I've got them pressed down into either the mat or into whatever you're sitting on, your pillow, your bolster. Fingers face forward. And I'm going to scoot forward so I have a little bit more space on my bolster. From here, I want you to inhale, lift your back. So either nice long spine or a slight arch. You can continue to look forwards, you can look up, or you even can let your head drop back. But take another breath in this space. If your head is towards the back, I want you to bring your chin back. And then we're going to take another round here. So now rounding your chest over your belly. And then sit up nice and tall. Now we're going to drop our knees to either side. So you're going to go to the right and to the left. Good. And now drop your knees to the right. I'm going to scoot back and sliding off my bolster, but I'm going to drop them to the right. So this could be really high, like you can see my knees are up here. It also could be even lower if it feels comfortable and safe to your hips. My hips don't move that way. I don't know, Casey, you probably can do this. Get your knees a little bit lower. But we're just going to drop them over to the right. Lift up nice and tall. Big breath in. Exhale. One more. Exhale. And then inhale, lift your knees back to center. Drop them to the other side. Same thing. Find the space that works for you. So knees are out. Gravity is letting them sink towards the ground. You're not actively doing any pushing here. Where you are is you're lifting up through your chest, reaching the crown of your head towards the ceiling, lengthening through your spine. Now we're going to take that a little bit faster. So coming back to center, take a breath in. Feet again are as wide as they need to give your belly space in between your legs. Breathe in, exhale, drop to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, drop to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, drop right. Inhale, center. Exhale, drop left. And then come back to center again. Let's drop again to the right and start to work a little bit through our muscles to help support some of that sciatic pain that's been going on lately. So bring your left hand to your hip. You're going to use your knuckles, either your knuckles or just the edges of your fingers here. And you're going to use that for a massage tool. And I want you to start at the top of your hip and slowly roll down towards your knee. So I want this pressure to be gentle. You should be able to feel sensation, but it shouldn't hurt. And just notice, this gives us a better idea of what's going on in your muscles. So if you're feeling any tender spots, then you might back up a couple inches above that, so meaning closer to your hip. Give that space a little massage with your knuckles. And I'm just going up and down, pressing into my leg. You should be able to breathe with this sensation, so it shouldn't be painful, it shouldn't hurt, but it may be something there, so it may also not feel great. So one place is closer down by our knee, another place if you find up by your hip, so find your hip bone and then you come down about 4 inches or a hand's width, and you'll feel another space there that can be tender. You may need to shift like I did to the side to rub into that space. And just work your way around that sensation. And this is something you can spend more time on, or do this daily if you're having trouble with those hips as well. So then I'm going to find that spot. I really actually have one almost in the front of my thigh where I'm going to hold and press. As you hold and press, make sure you're not also holding your breath. So I want you to take a big deep breath in and exhale, slowly release. One more time, big deep breath in, pressing into your leg. As you exhale, slowly release both your breath and your hand. Lift your legs to center. Now legs are out wide. So I'm going to scoot forward just so you can see my a little bit more contrast with my feet and the ground. So now in a diamond shaped here with my legs out and around. My feet are together, sitting up nice and tall. Now we're going to do a big deep breath here. For anybody who's feeling intense pain, especially with forward folds, stay up tall. If you are not, then you're going to take some time to fold into this. So notice how your back feels, notice how your hip feels as you fold forward into this. And remember that fold is not necessary. Staying up tall is also great and allows you to stretch through your inner thigh. And then we're going to take now your right hand and press into that left leg. So using your knuckles again or the edges of your fingers, you're going to press into your inner thigh and give that space a stretch. If the right hand crossing over is not working anymore because your belly is taking that space, of course you can use the left hand to do the same. For your left hand, you do kind of have to fold in with your arm so that you can get into your inner thigh. This can be very tender, so you're your own massage therapist right now. Be gentle. Good. And then find the place with the most sensation. Pause there, press into that space, take a deep breath. Exhale. One more. Exhale. Good job. And then we'll release from there. Roll through your shoulders. Give your arm a little break. Let's take that left arm, reach it up. Exhale, circle it around. One more time, reach up. It just had to do some work. Exhale, circle around, cross in front of your chest. And then open it out wide. Bring your knees back to center using your hands. Lift up. So as knees lift up here, we're going to just rock side to side. If you need to bring your hands back behind you, you can rock your hands back, to give your belly more space, go ahead and do that. Now we're going to switch to the other side. So dropping your knees to the left, take your right hand, bring your right hand to the top of your thigh, using your knuckles, work your way down your leg. So just giving it a little massage, applying the pressure that works for you this morning. Once Once again, if you feel any space that has a particularly intense sensation, pause there, give it a little rub side to side, so either up and down, side to side, using those knuckles, even little circles may work. And breathe. So the two places I want you to pay particular attention to are the space about a hand's width from your knee, also up here at your hip, so finding your hip bone again, coming down a hand's width down and moving around that space. And you may find that one side is different than the other. And we're doing this today in prenatal yoga, but this is something that works anytime in life. So if you don't have a foam roller or a chance to work something out after a workout, this is something you could do at your desk as you get back to your office. And then we're going to bring that back to center, bring your knees to center, rock your knees side to side. Once again, open your legs out, make that diamond shape. And now it's the left arm that works on the right, or the right arm stays. So either here, if you need more space for your belly, or you're coming across and pressing in. If you find a space that's particularly intense in that sensation, little circles up and down, side to side, or pause and press. And then when you pause and press, make sure you're not also holding your breath. So you want to take deep breaths with that. And then we'll release. Bring your hands to the sides of your thighs. Lift your knees back up to center. Give them a rock side to side. Then we're going to do one more thing seated, and then we'll get up and do a little bit more movement. So the last thing we'll do seated is to find a comfortable space. So I'm going to cross my legs, but if it's more comfortable for you to come back out with your knees out wide or stretch your legs out in front, go ahead and do that. And then from here, I want you to close your eyes so we can focus on our pelvic floor. So remember that pelvic floor, go ahead and open your eyes again if they're closed, is we're looking at the bottom, the very base of our pelvis. You're going to lift up from there, so contracting up first from there, then contracting through your belly, so like you're giving baby a hug, pulling through your spine, and then you're going to work your way through your abs and around. Your posture is nice and tall. And I don't want you to get too hung up on breath. If you're doing the opposite thing, it doesn't really matter to me. We practice pelvic floor work in prenatal yoga for two things. One, our pelvic floor is getting stretched and worked a lot during your pregnancy, and so it can feel like you're starting to lose control of your bladder at times during pregnancy or even postpartum. And then the other thing is during labor, you want to be able to relax your pelvic floor. That's where baby is coming out, and we need to be able to open up that area. And if you tend to hold tension in your pelvic floor, then you may actually lift up and pull in, and then baby has a really hard time getting out. So we practice that now so that when you're in a point of stress, you might think of it as during delivery, that you're able to relax in that space. So let's go ahead and get in that space. Again, find that comfortable seat, sit up nice and tall, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. Just let everything go. And now I want you to inhale, literally let everything go. So letting go of any muscles in your belly that are lifting it up right now. Let go of your pelvic floor. Imagine everything is just hanging out like right after Thanksgiving dinner. And then as you exhale, lift up, contract your pelvic floor first. Contract your abs, giving baby a hug. Now continue to hold that contraction. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. It is hard to breathe. Take another breath in. And now release, starting from the tops of your ribs, through your belly, through your pelvic floor. You can let your eyes flutter open, shake all that out. And then we'll continue to do that a few more times. So eyes open or closed, it's completely up to you. Take a breath in. Everything relaxes, belly presses out, pelvic floor releases or feels like it lowers. As you exhale, contract from your pelvic floor, lift up through your belly. Hold the contraction without holding your breath. So deep breath in and out, feeling like your breath is only coming into your ribs as opposed to all the way down into the belly. Take another breath in, and as you exhale, release from your belly, release your pelvic floor. And then one more time, inhale, everything relaxes. Exhale, lift up from your pelvic floor, lift through your belly, contract in your ribs. Hold the contraction. Take another breath. Good job. Breathe in. Exhale, let it all go. Wiggle it out, shake out your head, your neck, your shoulders, rock side to side. Rock your back forwards and backwards. Any kind of wiggling that allows you to shake it out. Now we're going to move on or continue that pelvic floor work and continue our hip work on hands and knees. So I want you to roll to the side, come to hands and knees. And once on hands and knees, wrists, elbows, shoulders in alignment, knees underneath hips. As a reminder, if you're starting to get swelling in your wrists and this feels uncomfortable, you can take your mat, fold your mat over, and give yourself a little incline. You also can use a towel under that space or a blanket if you have one. So what you're looking at here is just bringing your hands up a little taller so that there's not quite that severe angle in your wrists. So again, wrists, elbows, shoulders alignment, knees are directly underneath your hips. If you're finding you need more space for baby, it's perfectly fine to let those knees be a little wider. In this space, I want you to notice your back. So especially as you progress through your pregnancy, you're going to feel weight through your belly, pulling gravity down and letting your back arch more and more. So this is both in this position and also with standing. So let's practice that nice long spine by lifting up through our belly, pressing down through your hands. And then 3 more times we'll work on that contraction and release of our pelvic floor and of our abs. So inhale, big breath, let go, but keep your spine long. Exhale, lift up through your pelvic floor, contracting your pelvis first, or your pelvic floor first, not your pelvis, bones don't contract. In your belly, giving baby a hug. And then inhale, slowly release. Exhale, contract. Inhale, release. Exhale, contract. Inhale, release. And then just wiggle side to side, shake all of that. Move your knees so they're now mats width apart. Take a breath in as you exhale. Send your hips over your legs, coming into a child's pose. So a couple things here. During pregnancy, this could stay tall. Palms just press in the mat and we're sinking into our hips. That can feel really nice. You also want to be mindful of how your hips feel. If you feel like you're overstretching, then you might not even come that far. You also can slide something underneath your legs if you need a little bit more support there for your knees. You also can round down, so allowing yourself to get closer to the ground, but still letting your head hang, or even let your head come down to your mat. Arms reach forward if that's an option. And just breathe, breathing into your hips. And one thing here is we won't stay very long in any of these restful poses, just because you want to make sure, especially in child's pose, that you don't feel like blood is pooling in your feet or you're getting tingling there. So if anytime you do feel like that, and I haven't called you out of it, feel free to come forwards and then come back again. So let's take one more breath. And wherever you are, let your hands find your mat. Press your hands into the mat. Inhale, pull forward to hands and knees. Slide your knees so they're back underneath your hips or closer to it. Walk your hands one handprint forward. Inhale, move into a modified plank. So as we come into this modified plank, let's take a moment to check down, See how our belly's doing with that diastasis, that separation in your belly. So I want you to look down. You're looking at your belly. If you're seeing any coning right now, then you're going to move back into hands and knees so that until you can find a round belly instead of a mountain-shaped belly. So if you're not seeing that coning, staying in that modified plank, perfectly fine here. Wherever you are, let's take 3 breaths, contracting and releasing through our pelvic floor. So inhale, release your belly, release your pelvic floor. Exhale, lift in and up, contract. Imagine yourself zipping your ribs together, zipping your ab muscles together. Inhale, release. Exhale, contract. Inhale, release. Exhale, contract. And now if you've moved into the modified plank, I want you to walk back so that you're back to hands and knees. And then just wiggle side to side. Let's take a moment to stretch through our upper back. So inhale, lift your right hand high, reaching it up towards the ceiling, stretching long. Exhale, come down, thread the needle. So this could stay tall, or this can get lower depending on how far along you are in your pregnancy and how this feels safe to your back. I'm going to stay up tall just to show where I might have stayed. Take one more breath here. Good job. Then exhale, release that hand back down to the mat. Now lift the other hand up towards the ceiling, big stretch, open. And this could be very high, or it really could just be out to the side. Thread the needle, bring your hand underneath, palm faces up, pause there. Going as low as it feels safe to do so. So I'm staying a little higher this morning. You might want to get a little bit lower, totally fine, either way. Then we'll release that hand back down to the mat. Tuck your toes under. Let's take a break through our shoulders. So with toes tucked under, we're going to walk our hands back towards our knees. Starting to sit on your feet, and you can pause in this kind of crouched tiger position. Or continue to walk your hands up toward your knees or up your legs, sitting on your feet. So I want you to pause in this space. First with one of those pelvic floor breaths. So inhale, releasing. Exhale, lifting in and up through that pelvic floor, contracting, giving baby a hug. And then let your body take over your breath again. As we pause in this space, notice the discomfort in your feet. Notice if it is a manageable discomfort or you need a little bit less. If you need less, your hands come back down. But if it is manageable, pause in this space and allow your breath to settle you, to bring ease to this effort. It's such a good space or a good sensation to practice how it might feel during delivery, labor and delivery. So knowing that there are going to be uncomfortable portions of that, but we can use our breath to relax our body, to surrender to that sensation. One more. As you exhale, slowly melt out of it. So we don't want to pop fast. We want to go nice and slow. Releasing those toes and doing a couple circles, rotating side to side, left to right. And then scrunch your feet and release your feet. One more time, scrunch your toes, scrunch your feet, and release. And then come back to center. So from here, we're going to I'm going to start with the left side. Send your left leg straight back behind you. Put the ball of your foot on your mat. Press your heel back. Stretch through your whole left side. So you may feel this in your calf, your hamstring, even your hip flexor. So even right here in your hip. Take a nice deep breath. And then you can do two things. One is to slide the foot to the right side. The other is to lift it. If you're experiencing some of that separation in your belly and you're starting to get concerned about that, I would recommend sliding instead of lifting. Bring it to the right side. Take a deep breath, and then as you exhale, turn your head to the right. Look for your foot over your shoulder. You may or may not see it. No big deal if you don't. And now breathe down the left side of your body. slowly come back. So you can lift for more, although remember more is not always better, especially right here during pregnancy. You can slowly slide that foot back. Bring your knee back down, press back into a child's pose to release through your shoulders, wiggle side to side. And then come back to center. As we come to center, we'll now send the right foot back, press your ball of your foot into your mat, press your heel back behind you, big stretch, lift up through your belly. Exhale. One more time. Exhale. Let your body take over your breath as you send your right foot now to the left side, so sliding or lifting, your choice. Look over your left shoulder for your foot. You may or may not see it. Breathe down the right side of your body. And slowly come back to center. Bring that knee back down to your mat. Press back into a brief child's pose. Just one breath. And then pull forward to hands and knees. So as you come to hands and knees, you're going to step your right foot forward or your left, whichever one you feel stronger on. Fingers come to either side of your foot. Pause there. If you need more space because you're a little bit further along in your pregnancy, then you're going to bring your hands to the inside of your foot. As we rest here, I want you to walk your hands just one handprint forward. Now this is a space where, especially if the relaxant is really flowing in your body, that you might feel like you can get really deep, and I want you to be mindful of that, specifically if you're having trouble with sciatica. So we're not going to go super deep into this, just a little bit, taking a breath, breathe into your hip flexor. Exhale. One more time. And then exhale, walk your hands back. Bring your hands to your thigh. Pause here for a moment. Take another breath. And then we're going to come up to stand. So if you are starting to see separation in your abs, and you are concerned about this would be another place to be aware and mindful of how you get up. So not just in yoga, but any time. So you're going to push your hand into your leg to stand. I also want you to be aware of your pelvic floor and of your belly. So we could just hang out here, and as I push up, I'm also pushing out through my belly if I'm not aware of it. So I want you to lift in and up, tuck your back toe under, and come up to stand, pressing up. Once you come up, rock your hips side to side. You can wiggle fast or slow, whatever feels good to you this morning. And then from here, let's take a breath in, reach up, stretch. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, hands down. Moving into our goddess pose, you're going to step your feet wide, so toes are going to point toward the outside corners of your mat. Now, if you are feeling like your hips are moving around a lot, then this goddess pose stays pretty narrow. So really only about mat's width apart. If you're still feeling okay to get wider, feel free to go wider. That's not a big deal either. Just make sure that your hips are happy with the position you've chosen. Breathe in, reach your arms overhead, and as you exhale, bend elbows and knees, coming into your goddess. So as we come into goddess, our heels point, our inner thighs are opening, our outer thighs are pulling our legs back behind us. Big breath. Good job. Now your hands can stay down on your thighs. They also can come to your belly, interlace your fingers, and you're lifting in and up with your hands, so giving your belly and your back some support. Your hands can also come up. If your hands come up though, you are still very engaged through your abs, so that your abs are giving baby a hug and your back feels supported. Let's take one more breath. And then exhale. Inhale, reach up tall. Then exhale, just shake that all out, rocking your hips side to side, heel toe your feet towards one another again. Now I'm going to face forward, but I'm also going to demonstrate how you might do this at a wall. So first of all, facing forward, we're going to move into a standing pigeon. So your right foot is going to turn out to the side to a 90-degree angle. Breathe in, your belly is engaged, you're giving baby a hug, you're lifting up through your pelvic floor. As you exhale, your heel comes to your ankle. Now, if you're here and you're like, oh boy, I'm wiggling around a lot, feel free to grab onto a wall so that you have that wall support. Breathe in, use an exhale to sink into your hips and start to stretch through that hip. Now we're going to move first with this, with our breath. So inhale, come up to stand. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Good job. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Inhale, lift. And now sink and hold this time. So as you hold, you're sending your hips back behind you, stretching through your hips, breathing. Good work. Notice what's happening with your belly. If your belly or your rib cage is starting to splay out, zip that rib cage back up by giving baby a hug, lifting up through your pelvic floor. Breathe. Good. And then slowly come up to stand, release the legs, shake it all out. We'll do the same thing on the left side. So shift your weight into your right foot, left foot turns out to the side as we're moving into tree, but then our left ankle comes over our right leg. So stand up nice and tall. A couple of times we'll flow through, going down and then up. If you need to, once again, turn and find a wall or a chair. Use that for support. Breathe. Exhale, sink down. Good job. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink and stay. Hold and breathe. And I'm pretty high here. You are welcome to get lower. As you move lower, your hips come back behind you. So if I'm going to stay up pretty high, my knees out to the side. If I want to get lower, my bottom comes back behind me. And I like to bring my hand to the bottom of my foot to help encourage that foot to flex, supporting right now my left knee. Take one more breath. Exhale. As you inhale, come up tall. Release that down. Give it a little shake. Nice work. And then we're going to make our way back down onto our mat. So toes again are wide. This time not as wide as before. We're going to come into yogi squat. So in yogi squat, excellent pose for most stages of your pregnancy. This is one of those poses that if you are in that 35-week or later range and you know that your baby is feet side down, then you want to skip this one until baby flips, as it does encourage space in your pelvic floor. So take a nice deep breath. Exhale, bend your knees, sink into your yogi squat. So it could be high, hands on legs or thighs just like this. You could get lower with your hands on your elbows, or even lower, sinking in between. Wherever you are, your heels do want to stay on the mat. And if you need to add something to that, you could add a towel under your feet. Take a breath. Exhale, and we'll do that pelvic floor work in this space. So not an easy place to contract, but I do want you to try it. So big deep breath in. Exhale, lift, contract. Hold that contraction for one more breath. And then release. Bringing your hands to the floor. If you're worried a little bit about what's happening with your diastasis, then your hands want to come close to you. Pause there, lift up through your belly, slowly shift one knee down, and then the other. As we come back down to the floor, back down to hands and knees, drop your hips to the right, come back to center, drop your hip to the left. Good, come back to center. Nice work. Side to side. And then cross your ankles, roll over, have a seat on your mat. I'm going to grab that bolster again so that I have a little boost here. And now we're going to finish with a couple more poses for your hips. So feet are going to come out in front. Once more, they might be further away. They might be wider if you need more space. Right leg lifts, cross your right ankle over your left knee, finding the figure four, now seated. Flex your foot, pulling your toes towards your knee and sit up nice and tall. If you need more space for baby, then you're gonna scoot forward, hands come back behind you so that you can still get into your hips, but allow that space. So it looks like this. There we go. So if I need more space, then my hands can go back as I bring my foot in. If I need less space, then you might sit up nice and tall. So take 2 more deep breaths. Can work. And then hands come back behind you if they weren't there already. Drop your feet over to the left side. So my leg here is still in that figure four, but I'm dropping over to the left, giving it a different hip stretch. Now we did a little bit of that massage earlier. If you want to come back to this in this space, your left hand stays down on the ground, right hand might come up and work now a little bit through your glutes. So circling around through your glutes. Take 1 more breath. And then come back to center, release your feet, give everything a wiggle and switch to the other side. Left ankle crosses over the right knee. Breathe, find your space, your stretch. Good work. You can close your eyes, you can settle into this space. And eyes flutter open. We're going to drop our feet now over to that right side. So figure four stays once again, so your leg is here. You can have both hands on the ground. You'll see right now my left hand is still down. If you want to add that massage, the left hand comes to the hip and you can use your knuckles to massage in through your glutes and around through your leg. Good. Nice. And we'll release that, come back to center, wiggle side to side through your hips. And sit up nice and tall. Let's bring our chin so it's parallel to the floor. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, drop your chin to your chest. Breathe into the back of your neck. Lift your chin back up parallel, turn your head to the right. Drop your chin toward your shoulder, breathe into the left side of your neck. You also can bring your hand and use your fingers now to massage the side of your neck. So pressing down, moving from your skull down your neck into the base of your neck and your just about the upper back. Release there. Bring your head back to center, turn to the other side, drop your chin to chest or chin to shoulder. And this time using your right hand to massage the right side of your neck. And come back to center. You make your way to a resting space. As you make your way to that resting space, it could be seated, it could be down on your side using a pillow. It could be at an incline. I grabbed that pillow I had earlier. So an incline here, lifting up. Lower yourself down onto your back. And then feet can be flat on your mat, knees drop together, or make a diamond shape. If your hips are hurting, I don't actually recommend the diamond shape in this situation. Or extend your legs out. We'll just pause here for one final rest. So as you pause and rest, first take note of your breath, your heartbeat, Let your body just rest. Acknowledging how hard it's working to grow a baby. Let's give it permission to relax. Allow yourself to be quiet and still. If you want to rest here longer, you're always welcome to do so. Otherwise, begin to add movement first by taking a deep breath, feeling your rib cage expand as you inhale, your belly stretch. As you exhale, let everything settle and sink. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, rock side to side. And take this time to roll to one side. If you've propped your back up, you're going to be aware of that space so you don't fall off your pillow or your bolster. And I like to take this side to practice sitting up safely. So your top arm comes down to the floor as you move your bottom hand to the floor. Lift up through your belly and slowly press yourself up to seated. And then as you come to seated, cross your feet or let your legs extend. Bring your hands to heart center. One more tall spine. Good, and exhale. Thank you all for coming and sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.